Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira. How are you? Welcome to another episode of Munira's Musings. Our guest today is all the way from Canada on the West Coast, Gurjeet Minhas. Hi, Gurjeet.
Welcome. Hi, Munira. So glad to be here.
Welcome to Munira's Musings. As you all know, that this is a show where we are taking each person who has achieved their goal in life and is trudging toward more successes. We take those people and showcase them in our show, partly because we have so many people in this world who are trying to figure out what their goals are, what they want to do next in their life, or they have achieved it and just want to hear other people's successes. I am Munira Zahabi, and I am the Niche Navigator.
Munira Zahabi, the Niche Navigator, is a niche strategist. She is an international author, speaker, and influencer. She is an entrepreneur from Chicago, Illinois. Through her business, she has influenced many people to navigate their niche. She passionately believes that all people have a niche, but are afraid to explore the deep, dark waters within themselves and take a voyage through the raging waters within to find it. Munira's mission is to integrate the concept of nicheology, businessology, and confidenceology. She's also been a co-author of a number of books. She is the Ish, Journeys of Womanhood, Life is a Gift, Calling All Earth Angels and Healers, Heartfelt Business Lessons, Tips for Your Success, Conversations with Top Real Estate Investors. Let's welcome to the platform, Munira Zahabi.
And I help people figure out their niches. And because we all know that niches are a way to your riches, right? So without further ado, let's talk to Gurjeet. Hi, Gurjeet. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Currently, I'm a professor at the university, and I teach the registered nurses about caring for women when they're giving birth and after they give birth. So that's my specialization, and that's what I teach at the university. On the side, I have another project that I'm really passionate about, and that is helping women how to prepare for an easy childbirth. And when I say easy, you may think drugs, but no, this is how to prepare for an easy childbirth without drugs, without medical interventions, simply by preparing your mind, body, spirit, and totally being aligned and prepared for birth.
Wow. Right. So in my day, when I was in Africa, most of you know that I'm from East Africa. When I had for my 4 kids, I had heard of people in the Western world taking a little bit of epidurals and stuff. But in my world, it wasn't like that. My physician, who was a traditional African doctor with a little bit of modern medicine, he wanted us to all give birth, right? So are you a nurse?
Yes, I'm a registered nurse, and that's the reason I could, pursue my nursing studies, get my higher qualifications, and start teaching at the university. So I am a registered nurse.
Awesome. So from registered nurse, you must have worked at different departments, right?
Yes.
And then you came into maternity and you just fell in love with it. Tell us a little bit why that was the aha moment for you.
Thank you so much for asking. Actually, I went to different areas in the hospital, and everywhere I went, I sort of felt, I don't know how to explain it, but a sadness, maybe there's no hope, the agony, the feeling of the clients who didn't know whether their dear ones would live not live, whether they'd go back home or just they'd leave them in the hospital. It was so sad. But when I came to maternity, I won't say all the time, but most of the time, more than 95 to 97%, it was a happy place. People were having babies and there was so much joy in the environment and so much excitement. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, we're getting something. It's a time of joy in our life. And some people, when it's their first baby, after they've been struggling for years, it's like there's no words to explain the joy that they experience. And all that made me feel, well, there's so much in life. I really, was looking to go to a happy place. And the happy place in the hospital was maternity for me.
Wonderful is that, right? Because I know most hospitals out there, they have chimes, right? In some of the hospitals when a baby is born, they take that and, there's chimes that just happen. And I don't know if there is a sex definition on those chimes, but those chimes just signal to everybody that there was a baby that was just born. And yeah, happiness, right? When a new life is born. So, and that's where you just enjoyed it and you just stuck with it. How long has it been for you since you've started the journey in maternity and enjoyed that part?
It didn't take me long. After I graduated with my bachelor's degree, I just knew that was it. I was going nowhere else except maternity. I just knew it in my heart.
So you teach the nursing program. Do you teach specially about childbirth or do you just teach about the nursing program?
I actually specialize in childbirth, and so that's what I teach. Like maternity nursing, it's called. So the students coming into the program, they have to go to different areas of the hospital. And one of the areas is maternity, like childbirth, pregnancy, postpartum. And that's what I teach. And in the hospital, I take them around and I guide them as to how to look after the patients and how to give the best care. So it's not just at the university theory, it's also clinical at the hospital, where I guide them and I teach them to be like really role model nurses and provide the best care they can for their clients.
This is really amazing. I've never had a maternity nurse on my show. So this is really, this thing. I myself have I have 4 children and then I have grandchildren and, so the family is growing and it's of course a happy time. But why, what I'm trying to figure out is you want to teach. So let's get to your specialization. You want to help women give birth without drugs and without pain. Of course, there's pain, right, in all of that, because we see that in the animal world too, every female out there has to endure the pain, right? So how do you help other women who are about to give birth? And what is the time frame that you start working with them?
Excellent question. Some women, they think that when it's time to give birth, the doctors and nurses will look after them. So they don't do anything. They just enjoy their pregnancies and, they don't even think about what will happen during birth. Now, there's another set of women who know that if you have to run a race, you can't get up on the day of the race and say, now let me start running. Because then we all know what's going to happen, right? A little way into the race, they're going to get tired, exhausted. I can't do this. And that's exactly what happens at the time of birth. So women who've prepared their bodies in the sense they've been exercising it, especially the muscles involved in childbirth. They've been eating the right foods. They've been providing enough oxygen for their body. So their body cells are in perfect condition. Then when the physical part of it is good, they are strong enough to cope with whatever happens and they can take it. On the other side is the mental preparation, the mindset. The mindset, if they think, oh no, I'm never going to give birth. My aunt, my friend, my so-and-so relative, they could not give birth easily. They all had C-sections. So their mindset is programmed that they too would end up as C-sections. On the other hand, somebody who says, oh, my mom delivered so easily, my aunt just had a baby, my cousin just had a baby, and it was so easy for them, it's going to be easy for me. So it's a lot of the mindset that plays a role at the time of birth. And it's not just simply thinking that way. We all have fears and anxieties and stresses during pregnancy. Now, it's really important to get that out of your body. If you can do that, you are so relaxed, because till you get that out, you're not going to be relaxed. You're always going to be thinking, getting anxious and worried, and that is going to cause trouble at the time of birth. It won't allow the process to be smooth. So if you can get rid of your anxieties, fears, have a strong body, then birth flows so much easier, so much natural. You practically have seen women, they don't require an epidural. The pain is like they can cope with it. It's not unbearable. They can cope with it because they are strong. Their mind is like, I can do it. And everything goes really well. And that's what I teach.
Why is this important to you?
This is super important. Let me tell you one thing that will just blow your mind. Now, we all want the best for our children. But have you thought of like what happens to you during pregnancy happens to your baby? If you are sad, you're undergoing, a very difficult time in your life, you're upset, you're, maybe traumatized with something, there's a crisis going on in your life, all that is transmitted to your baby. So when your baby is born, it's already taken on those negative emotions that you experienced. And those negative emotions have an impact on the baby. Now it grows up into a child, an adult, but those emotions continue to influence that person throughout their life. And this is super important, which people don't realize. They think, oh, everything happens after birth. No, it happens when the baby is right with you, part of you. Everything you experience, baby experiences.
Wow. Wow. That is so strong. I mean, I know firsthand because I have, like I said, I have 4 children, and I had gone through a different crisis in my life each time there was a pregnancy. And I see the effects even now of what had transpired then and how these children are coping with anxiety and stresses of daily life, right? So it's true what you're saying. But you are pushing for women to be strong. Now, are all of those people that you work with successful in giving birth naturally?
Yes. I would say people who follow the program and do the things I ask them to do, it's not like just do it once. It's a set of programming, physical preparation, mental. It's like every day you even spend 30 minutes, 30 minutes is not a large, amount of time to spend when you know that the results are so good. So if you can set aside 30 minutes to program your mind and your body, you're on your way. So it doesn't take too long. And just doing that steadily on a daily basis can get you there.
Now, some women are strapped for time. Some people who are listening, I don't know any of my listeners are pregnant or anything, but they may have family members or friends who are in this situation. So I'm going to ask you, what about those women who are working full time, or women who have other children, and women who have family members? How much spousal support do these women who are starting to do these programs need? And is that important?
Yes. See, it's always good to have the support of your spouse because it makes things easier. But even if you don't have this support of your spouse, if you can put yourself first and say, look, this is important for me, regardless of what is going on around me, I will take out those 30 minutes every day to do the physical exercises, and the mind programming is just 5 minutes. And the 25 minutes is the physical exercise that you need to be doing so that by the end of it, your muscles are well toned, flexible, strong for you to, have an easy childbirth. So if you can set yourself, like say this 30 minutes is mine, and, I'm just putting a boundary. No one comes to me during this time, and do it consistently. I think you can get there. But of course, if the spouse supports you or your family members support you, it always makes it easy.
And you've seen this success with all women of different backgrounds and ethnicities and all of that. I mean,
it doesn't matter. Munira, this is a very important question. It doesn't matter which ethnicity you are, because the principles that I use, the techniques that I teach, they are based on universal laws. And universal laws are the same. Doesn't matter which ethnicity you are, which race you're from, it doesn't matter. The universal laws work for everyone. So the results are there if you apply the program, like implement the program.
So, are you a mother?
Yes, I have 3 children, and thankfully all of them natural childbirth, but the first one was not easy. It was very difficult. And actually that led me to think, okay, there must be an easy way, right? Because for the first one, I did no preparation. I'll be very honest. I didn't do anything. I thought it's a natural process. I don't need to do anything. When the time comes, we'll see. And that's when I learned my lesson the hard way. When the time came, it was not easy. It was very difficult.
So in your words, preparation is everything.
That in my world, and I've seen it again and again, preparation is huge. And along with preparation, it's important to be relaxed. If you can be relaxed, that is super, super helpful. Then it's like so easy. And sometimes when we talk of preparation, like our moms and all, for them, what happened was there was so much physical work that they did. They would sweep the floor, they would, cook the food while sitting, like they were all the time exercising their muscles. They didn't have to do any special program. But now, most of the people, it's such an easy lifestyle, sitting on the chair, just walking a little bit. We are not exercising the muscles that we need to be exercising. That's where the issue is.
I'm sitting here thinking, you brought up a good point about women and I'm guessing India, right? The women in India, that your parents and your family members, and you're talking about squatting a lot. Is that
Yes.
one of the exercises that you're talking about?
Yes.
So, right, they're sweeping the floor and everything. So, but women have been around, said anybody could argue you're bringing your Indian ideologies right here. And the fact is that you're teaching us how to squat and how to, prepare your body. But what about women? There've been women everywhere in the world that have given birth for years and centuries, right?
Yes.
Right. So why is this different? Why do we have to teach? Like I said, this is supposed to be a natural process, right? But why do we have to teach? I mean, you mentioned that we are sitting on chairs a little bit, we're not doing a lot of work. Shed some light on that for me.
Yes. So it's exactly like I said, when you're sitting most of the time, the muscles that are involved in the birthing process are actually not being exercised. They're becoming stiff and they're not so flexible. If you can move, and the exercises that I teach are basically moving your body in ways to stretch those muscles, make them more flexible and tone them. And when you eat the right foods, which nowadays, again, we are not eating. We're eating like fries and hamburgers and what have you. It's so easy. We just don't want to do any work. So we eat the fast foods and that's easy. But that's not providing the nutrition that our body actually needs to support not only our muscles, but to support the child that's growing in us. So when we have poor nutrition, the baby will take the nutrition regardless. Doesn't matter if you eat well, doesn't matter if you don't eat well. The baby will, absorb the nutrition it requires from your body as much as is possible. If you're so malnourished, your condition really becomes bad. But at the same time, when it's time for baby's birth, the baby is fine because baby's got its nutrition. Baby doesn't care what's happening to you. It takes what it needs. And so what I find is that that's one part of it. And the second part is that more and more women are not delivering easily when their due dates are there. And so doctors are putting them on the induction list. What that means is if you don't give birth by a certain time, which is considered safe, which in Western countries is 41 plus 3, 41 weeks and 3 days. If you don't give birth by then, you are put on the induction list, and artificially, with the help of medications, your baby, birth process is started so that your baby doesn't go overdue. And that again has so many complications, so many problems. So if you really want to avoid that, and again, like the reasons I pointed out are why this is happening.
So one thing you talked about was mindset, right? So give us a few things that, all women everywhere can use. The pointers that you will share can be used by all women everywhere, regardless of age or regardless of the fact that they're pregnant.
Yes. So one is having faith in your body. Like for thousands of years, like you mentioned, Munira, women have given birth. So why am I an exception now? Right? Having that faith in your body, that God has designed your body in such a way that it can start the formation of a baby, it can grow the baby, and it can deliver the baby on time. So have faith in God's process that God has created for us, and try to help to make it as natural as possible. Do not make it so difficult by transferring to an artificial lifestyle with less movement, poor diet, and just thinking that I can't do it. I don't have the energy. I don't think I can do it. I don't have the strength. I can't tolerate the pain. Having those thoughts are just negatively programming you, and it doesn't help. So that's my advice. Think of it as a natural process, have faith in yourself, and do the right things. Try to transition to a natural lifestyle.
So for women who have these fears, because this is when you are in doubt, you have these fears, right? So for women who have these fears, what can they do or say? Or, is there a kind of an exercise that you can teach them right now?
Right now, yes.
Because to me, when I start looking at fear, I look at it as a shadow. Everywhere we go, we have a shadow. If we are standing at 12 noon, then the shadow is under us, but it's always there, right? So fear is always going to be there, regardless of what you do. But what do you tell? What is your advice to everybody else here who are listening, to tell them, hey, this is how you get over it?
Yes, thank you so much. This is part of what I teach in the program, but I'm happy to share it here. Now, the first thing is I recommend make a list of whatever scares you, whatever keeps you up at night, just make a list. Once you've made the list, you put it down on paper that these are the things I'm afraid of. Then ask yourself, take one at a time. The first fear, say, is this really true? And if you think it's true, it's really worth talking to somebody and saying, I'm afraid of this. Is this really true? And that other person could be your aunt. It could be somebody wiser than you. It could be your doctor. It could be your midwife. Talking to somebody who definitely knows about the birth, talk to them. Don't talk to somebody who doesn't know anything, because they'll be as afraid as you are. So talk to somebody who's knowledgeable and say, I'm afraid of this. Is this really true? And if it's something to be fearful of, they'll say, yes, this thing can happen. Or they'll say, no, this is not even a possibility. Like, why are you afraid of this? This doesn't make sense. And then your fear dissipates. That is the first strategy I would recommend. I'll give you another one, a very powerful one. The other strategy is, if you have nobody to talk to, or you just can't figure out and you're still so scared, and even if the other person said, oh, there's nothing to be scared of, you're still very scared. So then what you do is you think of what you're afraid of, you feel it in your body. You say, okay, where in my body is this feeling? And the feeling could be like a tightness. It could be like a knot in your stomach, or it could be like some part of your leg or shoulder. Somewhere in your body, you feel a contraction. So wherever you feel that tightness, you just focus on that area. While you know what you're afraid of, you know where it's lodged in your body, and then you imagine that there is a little window there, and you just simply keep repeating, all this fear that I have, you can leave now. And say it about 10 to 12 times. Simple line. You can leave now. You can leave now. You can leave now. So about 10 times, repeat, you can leave now. And what you'll find is that as you're repeating it, that tightness, hardness, maybe pain, anything is starting to get less and less and less. And then at the end of it, you'll find that, oh, now when I think of it, it doesn't bother me, because wherever it was lodged in your body, you have released it.
Awesome. All right. This is wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing these tips. And how do people find you?
I have my website. It's www.joyouschildbirth, like joyous, happy, joyous, childbirth.com.
And any other platforms you are on, like LinkedIn, Facebook?
Yes, I'm on YouTube too. And again, the YouTube channel is also Joyous Childbirth.
Oh, okay. So
And yes, YouTube too. And LinkedIn is just my name, which is Gurjeet S. S is like Sam. Gurjeet S. Minhas is my LinkedIn.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. Any last words you want to share with my listeners?
Absolutely. I would say when it comes to your baby, do not put anything in life before your baby. Put your baby first. Anything you have to do for your baby, do that, because pregnancy is a short time. It's not going to come again. And it's the period that's super, super important for your baby's life. So do not underestimate the importance of pregnancy. Put your baby first and do whatever you need to do to help your baby get a strong start in life.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Spoken like a true expert. She is the expert. She is the lady who helps women birth and have a joyous time. See, that's the thing, is that most people never have time to enjoy their pregnancy. They're just sometimes they're sick, they're not feeling well, they're very tired. And then if they're kids, they have other kids, and I'm one of them. I never enjoyed the pregnancy, right? I couldn't understand why I was always so tired, because you had to do so much work, right? And so I'm going to echo what Gurjeet has said, is that if you know of anybody who is pregnant or who needs help in taking the next step, right? First of all is to be happy, right? Once you start being happy because you have a new life inside of you, now you start taking it to a different level. And if you need help, go ahead and reach out to Gurjeet, because she's available. Her website is www.joyouschildbirth. And reach out, because this is supposed to be a very happy time and you don't want to be stressed out. Right?
Munira, I like to say always, happy mom, happy baby. If you want a happy baby, you need to be a happy mom.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, much as we like to continue this, I would, sometimes time is not our friend, and we have all good things come to a close. So take this to the next level and help share this segment with everybody out there, because you never know who needs to listen to this message. And if you share it, somebody may achieve the goodness out of it. And if you'd like to be a guest on Munira's Musings, go ahead and reach out. It would be awesome to have you, because every person here is unique. Even though if they do the same things, they do it differently, and I want to learn from you. Here we've had Gurjeet all the way from Canada, and she's just changed a little bit of our thinking, and she talks about mindset and happiness together and releasing of fear. tune in, subscribe, like, share our channel, and we'll see you next week. Have a good week. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group.